Welcome to today's webinar, part 6 in Transparency is the New Green, our webinar series featuring manufacturers who are making credibly greener, healthier, and higher performing products and have those available to the marketplace through the Transparency Catalog. I'm thrilled to be representing our partners from the Collaborative for High Performance Schools today. The Transparency Catalog is the official product transparency resource for products that meet the CHPS criteria for product transparency. And we're going to be unveiling today the CHPS branded listing for CHPS members to talk about the benefits of being a CHPS member and the ability to be easily found by folks in designing schools and in school districts looking for those products that meet the CHPS criteria. So a little bit about the webcast series, Transparency is the New Green. We named it that because the Transparency Catalog showcases all of the brands across the entire building product industry who have invested in product transparency. So all those brands are in the catalog. We're continually updating the catalog of those brands, but only the products from those brands in which they've invested time and money to create product transparency disclosures, only those products are in the catalog. So you might ask, oh, why would you create a catalog just of products with transparency disclosures? And the answer is, well, transparency is the new green. Prior to LEED version 4 and some of the other newer rating systems, single attribute credits were available specific to product categories. We can pretty much guarantee you that most, if not all, of the manufacturers who have invested in product transparency did invest already in getting those single attribute certifications and ratings. And with product transparency, raising the bar, saying, look, just talking about a single attribute is great, especially if it's the most important one for that category, but it only gives us a slice of the story. Product transparency, when you look at the complete life cycle of a product and the environmental performance in combination with the material ingredients in those products, we now get a really broad and deep understanding of how those manufacturers are making those products and what's in them, and ultimately their impact on the environment and human health. So what we're going to learn about today is from these two manufacturers, who I'm thrilled to have with us, is exactly that story. What are they doing to make higher performing, greener and healthier products? And how has the creation of these disclosures given them insights to improve those products, and also to be able to tell meaningful stories in the marketplace, so specifiers or building professionals aren't selecting products just by checking a box, but by truly understanding which brands and which products are really being invested in to reduce the impact on the built environment. So today we have with us Anita Snader from Armstrong Ceiling and Wall Solutions and Dan Marks from Stego Industries. I'm going to give you a little bit of context for the catalog, and then we're going to turn it over to Anita to tell the Armstrong story, then Dan to tell the Stego Industry story. We'll look at the catalog listing and how to use it for education and for marketing. We'll kind of unveil the CHPS branded listing. Anytime you want to put a question in the questions panel, please do that. We'll take questions at the end. If we don't get to them, we will follow up with you. No problem. So to set the context, again, manufacturers in any industry, but particularly now in the building product industry, are really challenged with two problems, which is to credibly design greener products and then market those greener products. And it's all the same drivers that are driving those those challenges, the cost and availability of natural resources, regulation, supply chain, risk management. Those are external drivers. Internally, there's always the drive for innovation, new products, revenue, and access to new markets through those new products. And all of those things contribute to the brand and creating a powerful brand that hopefully will create preference with the right kinds of customers. So at Sustainable Minds, our perspective on product transparency is that it does contribute to building a credibly greener brand, but not by just producing disclosures. That the value for manufacturers to provide environmental information about their products, the real value comes from demonstrating they understand what that disclosure information means and they know what they're doing. And so to build a credibly greener brand, it's going to require presenting that information in a consistent, understandable, and meaningful way. And when that happens, that's how the manufacturer builds trust. Trust builds powerful brands, and powerful brands create preference and value for their companies. So we have a good mix today on the call between building professionals and manufacturers. And we're all in this ecosystem together. Building professionals are challenged actually with finding products with disclosures. And further, because these are technical disclosures, can't really easily use them to make informed decisions. But the manufacturers who are responding to the market request for transparency, they have a bunch of challenges, particularly the ones who got started early. There are now over 900 manufacturers by our count that have done some kind of product transparency investment. Being early is no longer really a competitive advantage. Manufacturers are really looking hard now at spending the dollars and the time to invest. There's got to be direct lines into sales and relationships. These take a lot of time. There's not going to be a stop to it. It's already horses out of the barn. So being able to operationalize and save time creating disclosures, training people to use them, distributing them to building professionals, as well as to all of their distributors, salespeople, partners, all of these things are continuing to add more work to the manufacturer to sell what actually are increasingly better products. And so it's worth it for them to do it. That's our role in creating the transparency catalog, is to help create this virtuous cycle of supply and demand by helping to reward the manufacturers who have invested in product transparency and helping building professionals find those brands and those products so they can specify them, reward the manufacturers, and ultimately build higher performing buildings that have less impact on the built and natural environment. And we're going to touch on this later. It's great to have a catalog where we've aggregated brands and products, but the truth is that most building professionals will go to a manufacturer's website first when they're doing research on products. And because the Transparency Catalog is an educational marketing platform, part of that marketing effort is to send people back to the manufacturer's website because that's where they want to do business with them. So I'm going to show you how we support that as well. So as I just said, the Transparency Catalog is an educational, marketing, and customer service platform. We don't refer to it as a product database because it's actually doesn't behave like a database, and it's not designed for that sole purpose. It's designed to do a bunch of other things. And quick foreshadow, watch for an exciting new release at Greenbuild coming up, and hope to see you all there. The catalog is designed uniquely to save manufacturers time, money, improve the effectiveness of their marketing efforts, and help get a real ROI on their product transparency investments. And for building professionals, it's designed to help find the brands and their products easily in a glance, understand what the disclosure information means, learn about what a manufacturer is doing to improve, enable the sharing of feedback between building professionals and the manufacturer, and make it easy to reward those manufacturers. And if all this happens, we're going to create the change collectively in the industry that we're all looking for. So that's the bottom line. It's designed to reward brands to drive change and create the impact in the built environment that green building is intended to create. So with that context in place, I'd like to turn it over to Anita, who's going to tell us about what they're doing at Armstrong Ceiling and Wall Solutions. Take it away, Anita.
Okay, thanks, Terry. Hi, everyone. I'm Anita Snader, Environmental Sustainability Manager for Armstrong Ceiling and Wall Solutions. And I thank you for joining us today. And also a big thanks to Sustainable Minds for inviting us to be part of the webinar. So a brief background on who I am, what I do. I am in our ceiling and wall division, so I focus on the commercial side of the business. And I really manage our sustainability program and platform for Armstrong, both from a corporate view, our facilities, our plants, and also from a market and a product view as well. I work within the industry and serve as a customer and industry liaison, and also an educator. So certainly look forward to opportunities like today to be able to share information on what we're doing here in Armstrong. I've been with Armstrong for 20 years. Half of my career, I've been focused, the past 10 years, I've been focused on driving our sustainability leadership in the ceiling industry. And that really came out of, I was a market segment manager at one time, and I managed our recycling program. And that's really when leads started coming into play and really gaining momentum in the industry. And I said, well, we can do more than just recycling. We have a lot of other properties in our products and our facilities. And that's really where this whole sustainability passion was created for me, and also within the company. And I do also really look forward to whatever I can do, both from a personal or a professional standpoint, on minimizing our impact on the environment. I mean, we've seen so much over the past several months in terms of all of these sad disasters that have occurred, and whatever we can continue to do to help mitigate that, certainly we can all do our part. And certainly as manufacturers, I do feel we have the responsibility for our products from the beginning, from cradle to grave, and there's a lot we can do in that area. So moving on, just a little bit of background about Armstrong. We do have separate companies now. Armstrong World Industries is a separate company with as Ceiling and Wall Solutions. We are a global leader in the design and manufacture of both commercial and residential ceilings, walls, and suspension system solutions. We're based in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That's where our headquarters are. And we do have 26 facilities around the world. And we've been around for a while. We've been around about 157 years to be exact. And that's what I did want to just spend a moment and give you a brief background on Armstrong. We began in 1860 as the Armstrong Cork Company, Cork. And the handsome gentleman you see there is Thomas Armstrong. And 4 years after he came to America, he was started the cork company, and he started putting his name on every bag of Armstrong corks with a written guarantee tucked inside that said, "Let the buyer have faith." And he branded his product and stood behind it. And it really wasn't just a piece of paper for him. He really walked the walk. There's several stories that go along with this. But the key one that I wanted to share today is how sustainability was really at the root of the founding of Armstrong. As they made these corks for various different sized bottles that were around at that time, they accumulated a lot of cuttings and shavings. And at that time, they were just dumping them into the Ohio River. It was close by. That was an easy place to put those shavings into the river. And Thomas Armstrong found out about it, and he said, we can't do that. We have to find another way to do that. So they reused the shavings to make the first cork flooring and acoustical ceiling. So that was really the founding and the roots that established kind of the sustainability in the DNA of Armstrong back in that time, and continues to today. And this is today's picture. This is a view of what we have as our sustainability platform, which is the Armstrong Green Print. And we created this green print so that internally, through all of our divisions, everyone knew what we were focusing on from a sustainability standpoint in 3 key areas: people, product, and process. And then 5 initiatives: health and well-being, material transparency, building efficiency, end-of-life recycling, and then, of course, our environmental footprint. All of these really tie to what we call our why. It's why we go to work in the morning, why we pull up and are there to do whatever we can to really make a difference in the lives of people where they work, play, learn, heal, and live. We've had a lot of firsts in sustainability. First to create a ceiling recycling program 18 years ago. First to certify acoustical values. First to commit to high light reflectance as a standard. First in fire safety standards. And now first to make ceilings, panels, and suspension systems free of any chemicals of concern. And that's what we're going to focus on today. I wanted to share more about the health and well-being area and the material transparency area of our sustainability platform. So as the drive for transparency, as Terry was explaining, began, we actually had been working on especially the life cycle assessment area for some time. We were monitoring where LEED was going and changing, and we really began digging deeper into the details of our products. And in fall of 2016, we launched what you see here called Sustain Portfolio. It's the highest performing portfolio of ceiling and wall solutions. Just like many manufacturers, you have many items. We have thousands of products, and we knew we couldn't develop and go through all of the research to complete transparency on all of these items. We have a catalog that's about 2 inches thick. So we said, how can we make this simple and easy for our customers? So we created Sustain, and we put together this simple equation to be able to explain it. So all products that are part of the Sustain portfolio are clean. They are free of any chemicals of concern per the Living Building Challenge Red List, and simple, easy to find. So they're in one place on our website and other transparency catalogs like Sustainable Minds, and making it easy to find. So if you go to a Sustain product, you're going to have all of these attributes that go along with it. Every Sustain product has a health product declaration, an HPD. We've just now updated all of our HPDs to the new 2.1 version. It will have an EPD, an environmental product declaration. And we've also gone and accomplished the Living Building Challenge Declare label as well. And then we've optimized the materials. We comply with all of the rating systems that are requiring transparency, from the Living Building Challenge to LEED version 4 to WELL to CHPS, and also meeting, of course, all of the emission standards. And a lot of the Sustain products also have what we have known as total acoustics, which is an acoustical performance that combines both blocking and sound reduction in one product. So what are those products? I wanted to give you a brief overview. They are in many different areas of our product families, but they really are our top selling products. We said, how can we impact the market? How can we deliver what our customers are looking for? So we hit our top performing products first. from our mineral fiber fiberglass panels to our metalworks panels to our suspension systems. And I'll just run through here and you can see very quickly a quick tour here. You can go to our website and see more. But these are some of our, all of our Sustain products in our catalog and in our Sustain portfolio. From fiberglass, we have changed to a plant-based binder in our fiberglass products. To metal, you can see some interesting metal designs, some interesting attachment methods, and some different looks, some blades versus wall-to-wall ceiling. And then our suspension systems, our grid, what holds up those ceilings. And then trim and transitions, which helps to provide a nice transition to other parts in the room. And then a drywall grid, which helps to provide a labor saving to being able to design drywall features in the room. So all of these Sustain products are in the Sustainable Minds website. You can see in the transparency catalog. This is our brand showroom featured here. And you can see we have various listings from acoustical ceilings, specialty ceilings, our suspension systems, all of the products that we just went through. And then every Sustain product, you can see the listing at the bottom of the screen, which we just went through. Every Sustain product carries all of those features. So why is transparency important? You see a lot of names that you recognize throughout the industry. Why is a resource like Sustainable Minds valuable? It's really about responding to our customers and making sure that we have the products and the information in order to create better spaces. And we're all working to do that. And of course, many industry initiatives have emerged from LEED version 4 with the new credits for material transparency and building disclosure, to the WELL building standard, and of course, CHPS as well. Many of the firms that you see shown here on the slide sent letters to manufacturers about 2 years ago and had demanded disclosure of ingredients. And many manufacturers now are at a place where they've responded. They're part of this whole new transparency wave. And we're making better products, which is great to see everyone at a different, a step change. And I believe now, we're able to make better informed decisions because we have new information, as Terry was explaining. You have the information to evaluate a product among many dimensions. So I think at this point, from a manufacturer standpoint, our ask is really now, please choose these products. Please, deliver on these products, carry them through the process, through your design and construction process, down to the contractor. Help us in getting the word and education to the contractor as well. So I do encourage you to talk to companies and understand the information we've disclosed. I know we've had several conversations. I just yesterday was on the phone with a major university explaining our Sustain portfolio. And it's just great to have that conversation and be able to share information. Just a quick overview on our journey and some of our key highlights of when we were creating Sustain. First, to create our portfolio, our Sustain portfolio, we needed all in. We needed everyone from our CEO to our plants to our business leaders to really have a total corporate commitment that we were ready and willing to be able to disclose and be part of this transparency effort. A commitment to be public about the ingredients and also to dig deeper from, we were disclosing information at a MSDS level and SDS level at 10,000 parts per million, but this was a major change to go down to the Declare label, which is at 100 parts per million. So most of the Sustain products are not new to us. They were products we had. They're best-selling products, as I said. And our biggest change that we've spent a major investment and major resources was to completely eliminate formaldehyde from our plants, from our binders, and also some changes in our paints as well. So those were the ingredient changes that we needed to institute, and we have in North America, we have several plants throughout the US. So we've needed to do that in different plants. And of course, while they're making 100,000 square feet of product a day. So secondly, we also had a great group of scientists and innovators that are always looking at new materials, new ways to reduce our impact with our products. And as I said, we were using life cycle assessment since about 2005. And we used it to really look at what if we changed this in this product, or what if we changed this ingredient, or if we were able to change the energy or water footprint and be able to evaluate that impact. So that really has helped us advance in reducing our impact of our products as we move forward. And then lastly is really about some process changes that we instituted. We instituted a design for the environment process within our new product development process to incorporate a material screening stage. So when the product's being developed, we're making sure that we're looking at those ingredients. We have someone that is dedicated with a position for material screening and ingredient research. So those ingredients are sent to that person, they're evaluating them, and we're having that conversation up front so that those new products can automatically be part of our sustained portfolio. And then lastly, I think if you talk to any manufacturer, I know we all share the biggest hurdle, at least on our end, is with our supply chain, and being able to first educate them on why we're asking for this information and why we need it, and then also working to obtain the level of disclosure we need from them in order to be able to comply with the transparency requirements. So that's our journey. Also, as part of our sustainability commitment on health and well-being, what a better space for us to focus is a school. We're proud to be part of the Collaborative for High Performance Schools, and we're happy to see that connection with Sustainable Minds and the ability to have the CHPS product catalog available on Sustainable Minds. At Armstrong, we've been focused on creating better learning environments for many years. We're very active globally in codes and standards that support better learning. And you see pictured here, we have many case studies to share, but this one is a Brooklyn Middle School in Calverton, Maryland. And if you think about those classrooms on any given school day, whether it's in this one or any classroom across the US, thousands of students are unable to understand 25 to 30% of what's said in a classroom. So that's 25 to 30%. So the reason is a lot of these classrooms have excessive noise, reverberation because of hard surfaces. And within that classroom, that interferes with the ability to clearly hear the teacher, especially if you're sitting in the back of the room or if you're near a noisy HVAC equipment. So what happens? Kids start looking around, they start writing, looking everywhere but paying attention. The teacher then, of course, has this increased level of stress in trying to engage the students. And overall, it's really a reduction in learning. So we really focused on creating a ceiling for high performance schools and the right performance for every space. So we've taken the acoustics performance that's needed in each of these spaces, and we've designed the right product for those spaces. And then, of course, Armstrong Ceilings contributes to many of the CHPS criteria, from low emitting to recycled content to certified wood, rapidly renewable, a lot of the new transparency criteria, daylighting with high light reflectance, which brings more lighting into the classroom. And then, of course, the acoustical performance criteria, which is ceilings that are designed to meet the ANSI standard for classroom acoustics. So if you'd like more information on ceilings and schools, I'd invite you to come to our website, the education site on our Armstrong website. Look at the selector tool. There's many case studies. There's a lot of resources there for you. There's a reverberation calculator, and there's a Hear the Difference examples, which is amazing to really see the difference between one acoustical treatment versus another. So our journey continues. We're certainly not done. We have more work to do, but we continue to strive for how we can contribute and create better spaces. We're very happy to partner with Sustainable Minds to further our commitment to make it simple, and to connect with all the CHPS members in designing high performance schools. So I certainly invite you to check out our listing on Sustainable Minds, and then also link back to the Armstrong site and join our conversation on better spaces. You can sign up on our site and be connected to further research and tools and updates on this whole conversation of better spaces. So thank you for your time, and I'll turn it back to Terry.
Thank you, Anita. That was a really great and thorough presentation. And I got to tell you, when I was checking my phone to check the time, I also took a quick peek at my email and already got an email from a manufacturer in attendance who sent a note saying, I wish I worked for a company that was that committed to sustainability. So, and great presentation, he also said. So same for me, right back to you there, Anita. Well, let's move on, and I'm really excited to introduce Dan to talk about Stego Industries. And what I really like about this webcast series is pairing up manufacturers who are making really different kinds of products, solving really different parts of the building equation. And you might not even think about necessarily all of those problems that do need to be solved. I'm going to turn it over to Dan to talk about Stego Industries products and the problems they solve for higher performing, greener buildings. So Dan, take it away.
Great. Thanks very much, Terry. Certainly appreciate the time and the platform. Just a quick biography of me. Obviously, I'm the technical director. As Terry mentioned, my background is actually in mechanical engineering. I've been with Stego about 10 years now. 6 of those years initially were spent as the Southwest Regional Manager. 3 have been as the technical director. As the technical director at the moment, my main responsibilities include product development. I work a lot with our suppliers and the suppliers of our ingredients that go into our products. And I'm heavily involved in testing and evaluations of potential future projects and also our current ones. So third-party evaluations, quality control testing. My main contribution to the sustainability efforts at Stego, or I shouldn't say main, but one of them at least, has been I'm kind of the guy that knows what goes into our products. So the ingredients and then also the hazards associated with them. A little history on Stego. We're actually, again, as Terry mentioned, there's a fairly good comparison or difference between the company that I represent and the one that Anita does. We were formed in 1998, roughly. Fairly small family-owned company at this point. Representation across North America, although products tend to be used worldwide. Flagship product is probably one at least some people are familiar with. If you've ever driven by a job site or been on a project site fairly early on in the process, before or during the time the concrete's going down, you may have seen a yellow plastic. That's likely Stego wrap, which was really the first material that we introduced to the industry. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Now at Stego, we represent probably 4 main areas of building materials, all within the guise or under the umbrella of barrier technologies. Moisture control and vapor intrusion, pest control or pest management, and concrete accessories as well. These come under 5 distinct brands. The first one, and continues to be our main one, is the Stego brand. There's also Stego Crawl, Beast Concrete Accessories, Pango Termite Defense, and Drago Vapor Intrusion Barrier is our latest one. Just to touch on these quickly, as I mentioned, Stego Wrap, vapor barriers and retarders were our first line of products and are obviously designed to impede the diffusion of underslab water vapor from entering the concrete slab on grade and ultimately the building interior. The main aspect from the start for this product was indoor air quality, and also the success of building materials like the flooring that goes on top of the concrete. It helps protect against moisture-related issues. Buildup of moisture can also be associated with mold. Obviously, with these vapor retarders and barriers, you have various accessories. So we make certain tapes that are used for seaming, penetration repair, sealing at the perimeter where the vapor barrier terminates, term bar, mastic, etc. Again, if you've been to a job site and seen the yellow plastic, most likely that's Stego wrap. We have several billion square feet installed worldwide, primarily in North America and primarily in the United States, and used under some of the most sensitive projects in the country: schools, hospitals, data centers, institutional buildings, etc. A similar line, sort of an analogous line, is Stego crawl wrap, which is designed to go in crawl spaces and is a little bit different in terms of some of the performance characteristics, some of the dimensions. Has fairly similar accessories in terms of tapes, termination bars, etc. You can see a quick picture of what some of these look like and what a finished installation might look like. Beast is more of a accessory to some of these wraps. In fact, all of these wraps tend to utilize Beast products. The primary function of these materials are to allow for vapor barrier safe screeding and forming. I'll actually pull up some of the pictures here so we can see kind of the application at hand. It's an adjustable height, physical and visual indicator for the concrete placers of where the level of our concrete is. So they'll screed off of these, remove them. And again, it helps to make sure that during the screeding process or forming process, they're not puncturing the vapor barrier. So it provides, again, a vapor barrier safe way to do that for all the wraps. Pango wrap is a physical termite barrier, also acts as a vapor retarder, so we call it a 2-in-1 product. It has its own set of accessories that are specialized, again, and tested to make sure that subterranean termites are unable to access the building interior through control joints or cracks or penetrations in the concrete. And our last one, which is our latest one, to go through these quickly, is what we call a 3-in-1 product designed for vapor intrusion. That's Drago wrap. Combats the diffusion of hydrocarbons, various hydrocarbons, chlorinated solvents, other forms of contamination that are common on brownfield sites where redevelopment is necessary. These also obviously come with their own special set of accessories: Drago wrap, specialized tapes, sealants, sealant forms, etc. So, having gone through some of the materials, I wanted to tell a little bit about our transparency story. And from a company standpoint, I think we offer a unique perspective, again, a little bit different than something that maybe a larger company would. We're certainly an industry leader. The vapor retarder market existed before we did, but we have certainly been the driver and key force in high performance under slab vapor barrier technology and protection. We represent maybe a relatively few set of products as opposed to several hundreds or thousands. We've really focused our efforts and spent a lot of time developing our tens of products, so to speak. Our initial kind of foray into the transparency story, we had a little bit of hesitation because we've always wanted to maintain trade secrets. That's really what has helped us in our initial stages as a company. But this was quickly overcome as we learned more about what it means to be transparent and what the industry is asking for. And that's where we started our initial, again, kind of dive into this. It was with our main product at the time, Stego wrap vapor barrier, and it was really in response to the industry's demand for primarily hazard disclosure and ingredient disclosure to some extent of the products that we were offering. Having evaluated a number of the different systems through which we could provide some of this information, at least the key components of this information, we really saw the Health Product Declaration, HPD, as probably offering the most efficient format and best way for us to do this. And fortunately, we were really looking at this when the HPD got started in HPDC. We're looking for pilot manufacturers. So we jumped on board at that point, ultimately became and have sustained our membership. And we're I would not say instrumental, but certainly happy to be involved with the shaping and the development of the HPD as it went forward. So having gone through that process, obviously producing a deliverable, for us, it meant working very closely with our suppliers to obtain the information that we needed. We ended up utilizing the online builder to go through this process and developed HPDs for all the Stego wraps and accessories. As we became more comfortable with the process, gathered more information, and again started to build out some of our product lines, we did the same thing for Stego Crawl and its accessories as well. And currently, obviously, we're looking to extend our portfolio to include the rest of the product lines and brands that I mentioned. Our listing with Sustainable Minds is on the right. And again, our initial focus has been for our primary wraps, Stego wrap and Stego Crawl wrap, and the associated accessories. We're looking to add one final accessory as well, which I'll talk a little bit more about this one because it's sort of a specialized case, but Stego Term Bar is something we're looking to complete and have uploaded as well. As I mentioned, we really have ongoing considerations to build out transparency beyond what the HPD offers. We're looking at EPDs. We have been for quite a while. The declare label, obviously that, as Anita mentioned, provides or requires a bit more information, and we're working to work through that, and then cradle to cradle as well. These obviously involve larger investment, reinvestment, and involves release of a little more proprietary information, but this is obviously where the industry is going and where we're certainly looking and where our plans are to build out our offerings. Through the process of walking through the HPD and being involved as a pilot manufacturer, and again, continuing to build out our transparency portfolio, we've learned a number of things. Number one was, it was nice to have additional confirmation that we provide safe and fairly inert products. It was really never something that we doubted, but it was nice to have the verification through a third-party developed system that we could then provide to the industry in a unified format. It was always great for us to have confirmed through the process as well that proprietary information is something the industry is not forgetting about when it comes to ingredient disclosure or transparency, and we've been able to maintain kind of a healthy balance between what we're able to provide, would like to provide, and where we need to maintain certain trade secrets. Certainly we've seen for a while, but this has been confirmed and verified through the request for transparency information, that the industry is moving away from single attribute focus. For us, this is extremely important, certainly necessary to move away from looking at a product solely in terms of if it provides recycled content or regional materials. For anyone familiar with vapor retarders and barriers, under slab, recycled content can actually be very detrimental to the effectiveness of the product in the system, and probably causes more harm than good in terms of providing a sustainable building envelope. So again, moving toward transparency and other sorts of sustainability attributes rather than looking at one thing has been very, very good. Glad to see the industry is looking at this holistic approach, and we really think it's moving the industry forward to a large extent. What we've gained through the process, I wouldn't say primarily, but a big one has been additional insight and exposure into our own supply chain and the ingredients we're using. It's given us, as I'll talk about, a way to relook at some of what we're using and how we're accessing it. It's also been great to have an opportunity to train some of our suppliers about why we ask the questions we do and why we are looking for some of the information we're looking for. A lot of times, some of our suppliers and ingredient suppliers, manufacturers, etc., are a little skeptical about why we want to know exceedingly more detailed information about what we're using in our materials. And to have a kind of format that the industry is adopting to show them and educate them about why it's necessary, that certainly has been very useful. Through the involvement with obviously Sustainable Minds and also the HPDC, we've had access to a larger network and the mentors that are involved. And we've had some opportunity for internal improvement and innovation. At a product level, again, we've made some reevaluations of ingredients, look at kind of ongoing redesign efforts. The example I like to use is Stego Term Bar is made currently of 100% recycled PVC, and PVC obviously not a good material, especially in terms of the Living Building Challenge Red List. It's actually the only product for this reason of that we represent that doesn't satisfy the red list for the LPC. So we're looking at redesigning that, and we're looking really at every product that we might be taking on to represent or develop ourselves with the LBC in mind, with green screen benchmark scores in mind, a number of other things that we're not considering that we may not have before this journey. On a company level, life cycle thinking is kind of the term that we used, and it's made us reevaluate some of the steps that we've taken, or at least in some of our departments. We're now focused more on transparency centered, if that's a term, aspects of, for example, logistics, how we're selecting transport options, the packaging that we might be using for our materials, and how those would be sourced and also disposed of. And in product development, simply looking at maybe certain suppliers that have a certain philosophy, or the materials, technologies they offer, having a more positive impact in terms of sustainability, the way we've started to define it internally. We've also made several updates to our Stego Footprint Project, which is kind of our corporate sustainability program and set of initiatives. We've tried to, always from the beginning, but certainly more in the last 10 years as we focused on transparency, develop a number of internal programs that not only make our products maybe more sustainable, but our company more sustainable. Examples include carbon offset purchases for company-wide air travel through TerraPass. We actually operate our Stego home office in San Clemente, California on 100% solar power. We have a fuel efficiency program internally to help salespeople that are driving a lot use more fuel efficient vehicles. And we have because we do hundreds, if not thousands, of lunch and learn presentations over the years, a guide for our people to select, again, I hate the term, but green in quotes, more sustainable lunch options. Social responsibility, we actually developed a wellness department internally. We've done a number of different bits of charity work, and there's been a lot of team building involved as well. But we promote internal wellness for the nutrition and fitness and overall, again, wellness of our employees. This has been something that's only come forward in the last few years. And again, I have to say, our efforts in transparency and the incentives from the industry and the push from the industry to think about this more holistically has certainly helped with this development. We're also working on a corporate sustainability report and a number of other things internally and externally that we hope to be able to mature and continue as we as a company mature and grow. So lastly, in terms of our perspective, one question we wanted to address was why we think the architectural, engineering, and construction communities should be valuing transparency in their decision-making processes. And obviously a lot of them are, and that's again one of the reasons why we've made the efforts that we have. But from our standpoint, just to give you our perspective, we see transparency now as demonstrating a level of commitment to the industry from the manufacturers that provide it. It's also, I think, demonstrating a level of competence, because going through this process of developing EPDs or HPDs or understanding more about the ingredients and building that into the way that new products are developed or current products are evaluated, that's not necessarily easy, and it's not necessarily cheap to do. There's a lot of resources that go into this. I like to think as well that companies that are more transparent tend to be correlated with healthier footprints. It's not always true, but it's, I think, a very good indicator that the companies that are looking at this are going to be the ones that are conscious in other ways about making sure that their products fit into the scheme of sustainability. And I also think simply that products that are preparing for the future are more likely to be there, and transparency is certainly a major component of that. We hope that the trend continues, that manufacturers, well, I should say that the industry, the designers, the building owners continue to value transparency, and that manufacturers continue to do so. I know that we will, as long as the incentive is there for us internally. It is there. We will do this regardless of whether there's realization of the industry wanting to utilize products that provide this sort of transparency level, but it certainly helps. And so we commend the long list of architects, engineers, contractors, owners that have made commitments to this. It's certainly helpful. Again, I appreciate the time, the platform, the work of Terry and Sustainable Minds, and I will now pass it back to her.
Thank you, Dan. So I guess no stories about the Stegosaurus logo and company name, but we all love that name and love your logo, and a fantastic story too, because what you've shown is that small companies can transform themselves and create revenue and growth through the driver, through the lens of greener and healthier. This is a really great story, for a set of products that many people might not even know exist, but so important. And I love the way you told the story, and I think we all learned a lot from the way you told it. So thanks, Dan. So I'm going to step in for Stephanie today, Stephanie Mason, the CHPS Technical Director. And for those school, K through 12 school folks who've come to the webinar today as a result of the CHPS outreach, and maybe your CHPS members, back in January of this year, Sustainable Minds and CHPS announced this partnership because CHPS was refocusing on their core mission, really getting clear on what should we be spending our time and resources on. And they recognized that, building and managing a product database was really not their core competency, and they had just a lot of work to do to support their core mission. And they had just recently added new credits for product transparency, environmental performance, and material health to the core criteria. And so when they learned about the transparency catalog, they said, well, this is perfect because, we're all trying to do the same thing. So let's make the transparency catalog the official resource of products with transparency information for K through 12. And I think both companies represent products that not only go into schools, they go into all kinds of buildings, but in meaningful ways contribute to the healthiness of that school and the reasons for why CHPS even exists. So I'm going to give you I'm going to combine the preview of the CHPS branded listing with a quick tour of a transparency catalog listing for those of you who are looking for products. So here are the CHPS 7 high performance categories. You can see that they've added material and waste. They've added these new credits to the material and waste category. And now here's what a standard listing in the transparency catalog looks like. It's designed to be simple, easy to use, and find all products from a brand with transparency information in a glance. So what the manufacturer gets is their logo and links to their website, so easy for anybody to get to the website, contact links, phone number, email. It's this table that's key, and I'm going to actually dive into a catalog demo in just a minute. But what it does is it organizes the manufacturer's products by CSI master format division. We append the manufacturer's brand name or product name if there's one that actually better describes the division number. And then these are links to the manufacturer's product pages. In this case, a link to the EPD, link to the declare labels. I can see the scope and regionality of the EPD. I can see the results of the declare label. I can see that all these disclosures are current, and I can see all of that in a glance. In addition, the manufacturer has the opportunity to add some free text that continues their transparency story, commitments to making better products, anything they want to actually tell to embellish that story. One of the things you can't see here in the listing is we're not in the analytics business. That's not part of our business model. We're not going to sell that. We never will. It's not how we make money. We want manufacturers to have access to their own data. And so part of the listing is a manufacturer can add their own Google Analytics tag to the page so they can see in real time who's going to the listing, what they're clicking on, all the things that you're going to learn from analytics. We don't have to intervene. And then up here at the top is really kind of the cool tools, these sharing tools. So really easily, anybody can click this email link. It emails a custom message that says find all products from, in this case, Knopf. It emails the link to the listing, and it's teaching people to fish. It's not just emailing around PDFs anymore for a single product they might have requested. It's saying, look, go here for all the products, find all our transparency information. And in fact, we drive people back to the website. These are social media tools that anybody can use to tell the market about, hey, there's this listing, go here, find all the products, this is cool. So a couple things I wanted to point out is when a single attribute is really important in a particular industry, this is part of what this content below the product table is used for. So in this case, indoor air quality, really important for flooring, and the ability to pull that out, talk about it, and talk about what certificates or ratings they've achieved to support that important single attribute for that category. So here's what the CHPS branded listing looks like. We've added the member logo and the product logo because as of today, having products in the transparency catalog, CHIP wants to send the message that those products by definition meet the CHIPS product transparency criteria. So they would like to provide both logos. And what we've also done is we've taken advantage of that free text space below the table to add the additional CHIPS criteria. The manufacturer may also, their products may also be eligible to earn, but in a simple, easy to understand way, not a lot of hieroglyphics and symbols, not a lot to read through. It just lists, here are the other core criteria the products meet, and here's what we've done to support meeting those criteria. So earlier I was talking about, most people go to a manufacturer's website first when doing research. Well, we want to make it easy for manufacturers to provide all their products with transparency information, no matter where a user goes first, whether it's to the catalog or whether it's to the website. So what we do is we've given the manufacturers graphics. They have their choice of what kind of graphic to use. They can use our branded national park graphic or a simpler graphic, and have recommended putting those graphics anywhere in the website that somebody looking for all their products with transparency information might go look. You can see this national park graphic comes up when you use any of the social media tools. We're using that to build the visual brand. And here's an example of a page from the Knopf website where they've added the catalog badge. And so when somebody clicks there, they get taken to the website, to the listing, when you use the social media tools, it gets posted with the graphic. And when you click on that graphic from the website, it takes you to the listing. I really encourage all of you to check out the rating systems page. This is the master decoder page that describes the 5 different rating systems that offer transparency credits, and then all of the different disclosure types that are accepted by those programs and what levels those different disclosures or range of disclosure need to represent to earn credits in those programs. So in summary, the Transparency Catalog is designed to help manufacturers get rewarded for investing in product transparency and to build a credibly greener brand. It brings us to the top of our hour, and I'd like to thank you for joining us today. I'd encourage any of you to become CHPS members, and for manufacturers who are on the webinar today, I invite you to reach out to us and learn more about the value of creating a listing in the transparency catalog. Thank you, Anita, and thank you, Dan, for sharing your stories with us today. They were both inspiring and informative. And please, all the building professionals on this webinar, go to the catalog, explore their listings, and consider specifying their products in the projects you're working on now or the next one you have coming up. So thanks, and have a great day.